This episode has been supported by Bow Concept Scotland. The Danish interior specialist offers a range of customisable furniture and accessories for the home and workplace. Bow Concept Scotland offers a free interior design service, a guarantee for a lifetime, and installation throughout the country. The team is delighted to announce the countdown to a new store opening on Ingham Street, Glasgow. Keep an eye on bowconcept.scotland on Instagram for further updates. Exciting times. Stores are currently in Buchanan Galleries and Princess Square, Glasgow, plus Edinburgh Rose Street. Hello and a warm welcome to the Homes and Interiors Scotland podcast. I'm your host, Jill Welsh, and I'm also the editor of Homes and Interiors Scotland magazine. Today we're chatting to Alison Williamson, who owns Scottish cabinetry company Birkwood with her husband Mark. The kitchens and furniture Birkwood produce have really caught my eye, so I'm excited to find out more about what they do and how they do it. Hi Alison.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
And where have you come from today?
I have come from Pitlochry in Highland, Perthshire, so not too far away, but far enough to be out of the city.
We've described your designs as innovative cabinetry. For listeners who might not be familiar with the concept, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, well, it covers, it throws a broad blanket over everything that we do at Birkwood. We only use plywood for our cabinetry. So this is in our kitchens and in our furniture manufacture. And it also reflects the fact that we encourage the use of asymmetry in our furniture rather than a linear concept. We use a lot of colour as well, and we really encourage the use of vibrant colours. And as I say, plywood is the key to what we do in our cabinet making workshop. And plywood is often considered to be a poor substitute for timbers, or compared even to a normal kitchen in inverted commas, which would use chipboard or MDF. But plywood is in fact a piece of solid timber. It just happens to be made of veneered layers of that solid timber. And as cabinet makers, it's a beautiful piece of material to work with. It's strong, it's stable, it's environmentally friendly. And we also choose at Birkwood to leave the edges of our plywood unfinished. Well, we finish it with sandpaper and with oil, but we don't conceal the edges of our furniture.
Is that called butt joinery?
Well, butt joints are a type of jointing used in all joinery.
Right.
And actually, we don't use any butt joints in our cabinetry.
Okay.
They're a strong joint and they're a very common joint, but they're not the most beautiful joint. And we tend to go a wee bit further with our cabinets and use mortise and tenon joins and several other joints that make our cabinets not only stronger, but reveal a wee bit more about how the cabinets are made.
Right.
Because the jointing is very, very visible because we're not concealing the edges of our cabinets. And it does make for a very tactile finish and a very unusual finish. And many people talk about our cabinets being a real talking point in their kitchen or their lounge or wherever they happen to have furniture made.
As an editor, I see lots of kitchen designs and things coming through all the time, as you can imagine. Birkwood to me seems quite trendy. What do you make of me saying
Yeah,
that?
no, it's interesting you should say that. It's a conversation we have quite a lot with the word Scandi coming through, and with the popularity of Plykea, which anyone with an IKEA kitchen will know all about Plykea, which, you know, if your listeners haven't heard, is a fantastic manufacturing company down in England who will make you plywood and laminate doors for your IKEA kitchen so that you can have a Scandi feel, but without necessarily the bespoke price tag that, you know, a handmade kitchen will cost you.
Yeah.
So we've been making our plywood kitchens for coming on for 9 years now. And we did notice probably about 2015, 2016 that plywood was becoming quite trendy. And it's something that to be honest, obviously it's great for any business to know that the product that they're making is seen more and more. But we're not trying to exploit that, and we would rather our cabinetry was just kept. We're staying on focus. We're not promoting it as Scandi. We're not promoting it as something that's trendy.
Absolutely.
We're desperately promoting it as something that is timeless and that will last you for generations.
The colour as well is key, I think, to Birkwood's character, I think, And at the moment, I'm seeing quite a lot of colour coming through in other kitchens. Do you think you're leading a trend there? Or?
I don't think we're leading a trend. We're so niche. And, that there are not many Birkwood kitchens in the country. One day there will be. But we are a one kitchen at a time manufacturer. And in fact, over the space of a year, we may only manufacture 20 kitchens, which, for the whole of the UK, it's, there's not many going into many homes. But yes, colour, we love colour, and many of our customers do. Many of our clients choose just to have small pops of colour in various little asymmetric parts of the kitchen, and they let their utensils and their pots and pans and their soft furnishings do the talking for the rest of the colour. But we love it, and we apply it either using Formica laminates, which has echoes of the mid-century Scandi feel to it, with the lovely colours that you can have that are on offer from Formica. Or we hand paint as well, and many people choose a Faro and Ball colour, for example, or their particular favourite. They may have a scarf that they have a colour within it, and we can colour match for that. And so every kitchen does end up with a little bit of colour in it, and is very unique to the client. There are literally no two kitchens that even have the same Formica finish in them. Everything is different.
Inspiration comes from everywhere, really, doesn't it? Or anywhere. What inspires Birkwood and the designers there?
It's a tricky question to answer, because we get inspiration from everywhere. My husband Mark, who is the main cabinet maker in our business, we also work with 3 cabinet makers that we employ. He has been working with Formica laminate and birch plywood for coming on for 30 years. He served his apprenticeship as a cabinet maker in Australia, which in Australia, a cabinet maker is actually a proper trade, whereas in the UK, it's loosely linked to joinery. And to be a joiner in the UK, you can serve your time doing 4 years, but you can also buy a white van and a little tool bag and call yourself a joiner. So the respect that cabinetry has in Australia is slightly different than it is over here. He was working primarily in the shop fitting trades, and everything in shop fitting is highly bespoke. There's very little taken off the shelf. And so the business that he was working for was making items of shop fitting out of birch plywood and Formica finishing. And so he became very, very familiar with it. And it was his love of that, together with a little bit of inspiration that we had, which came in the form of a piece of furniture that was given to us after we had our second child. Our second child, Emma, was born with Down syndrome, which was no surprise to us. We knew this before she was born. And with her difficulty in sitting, she was given a beautiful piece of furniture from the local health board. And it was made purely out of birch plywood with exposed edges and Formica laminate. And this was 11 years ago, and it just completely brought back to Mark the beauty of working with these materials.
That's lovely.
And that brought the inspiration for us to really go for it. At this point, we were making ordinary kitchens made out of chipboards and MDF. We were buying in pre-made doors, which is how the vast majority of kitchens are made for most consumers, and that's completely fine. And we just had an ambition that we wanted within 3 to 5 years to just be using birch plywood for all our cabinets. And it was quite ambitious to be thinking along those lines, because it is not everybody's cup of tea to have an exposed edge in their kitchen. But it was a focus for us.
It's certainly refreshing to see it.
It's very refreshing, and we managed to achieve that within 12 months. Possibly due to the trendy factor, but we like to think also because the cabinets are beautiful.
Absolutely. Why kitchens?
It's not just kitchens.
But why at the beginning, kitchens?
Well, to be fair, the first piece of furniture we did was actually for our house, and it was a boot rack made with birch plywood, and then an audiovisual unit for the telly and the skybox, etc. And it was after that we got the confidence to start working with kitchens. Kitchen design is a specialist area. And
it's also highly competitive.
It's highly competitive, yes. So it was important for us to find a unique perspective with kitchen design, and the asymmetry really kicked in for us then, just to produce designs that just don't look like ordinary kitchens. It's very important for us to be doing something different.
Tell us about your furniture side. What commission are you most proud of?
Well, our commission that we're most proud of, it is classed under the category of furniture. It's certainly not a kitchen, but it's an entire shop fit that we did up on the East Coast in Dornoch.
Lovely.
In Dornoch, which is quite a unique town. It's seasidey and it's a traditional little market town, but it also attracts a lot of tourists, a lot of high-end golfing tourists from across the world. And there was a spar shop, a very ordinary spar shop. I believe it may have been a post office as well in Dornoch. And it was purchased by a fantastic couple who moved up from London. And they had visions to convert this into a little piece of foodie heaven up in the far northeast of Scotland. And they had seen our furniture and approached us with a view to fitting out their entire shop in birch plywood and laminate. It was a fantastic project to work with. And now up there, it's a very well-used shop by locals and by visitors alike. The range of foods there is quite incredible. There's a lot of things that you really don't need, that you really, really want. And the entire shop is bedecked in modular boxes, little panels, specially made plywood hooks, and it is little pull-out crates, standalone crates for fruit and vegetables, and it's just the most marvellous place to walk into, not just because of our furniture, but the way it's been stacked, the products that they have in it. So
and when was that? When did you build that?
That was in 2017. So yeah, we are most proud of that, and many people have come to us because they've seen our work there, and they've asked who's made it. So yeah, it's been...
I might be taking a drive up there sometime.
Yeah, well worth
it.
Well worth it.
That's great. What key components are often overlooked at the beginning of the kitchen design stage when they shouldn't be? So what should listeners know about at the outset?
Well, I think you can, tailor that into what I was saying about our own kitchen and how we design things with clients. Is all the little things. It's very easy to look at magazines like Homes and Interior Scotland and all the lifestyle magazines out there and see beautiful kitchens advertised or beautiful readers' kitchens and see that there's nothing on the work surfaces and that everything's, there's maybe a little chopping board with a leek beautifully placed on it. But actually we all need a toaster and a kettle. And we need a bottle of fairy liquid next to the sink.
Right.
And we need a tea towel that's not concealed in a cupboard somewhere. And these are the things that we do ask our customers to have a right good think about. All the things that you do need your hands on. A bin. Make some room in your kitchen for a pull-out bin cabinet. It might take up 400 millimetres or 600 millimetres, depending on how much rubbish you're intending getting rid of. But to have that concealed within a cabinet instead of having to then find space in your beautiful kitchen for a freestanding bin that gets fingerprints over it and spills. So these are the things that we think about, real practical things in your kitchen. And also work surfacing, really important to think about work surfacing. Do you want something that you're going to have to maintain quite a lot, maybe like a solid timber work surface? Do you want something that's really heat resistant and is going to withstand decades and decades of abuse? So maybe something like a granite or a quartz. So yeah, we do encourage deep thought about everything that you want to put in your kitchen, and we encourage you to let us know all these little areas that you need to have taken care of.
Good. Tell me about your role at Birkwood. What do you do there?
Well, my main role is wife to Mark. That's quite an important thing because he's got a busy job and he needs somebody to take care of everything that isn't drawing a kitchen, designing a kitchen and helping his cabinet makers make a kitchen and then installing it. Yeah. So my role at Birkwood is to work with him on estimating and quoting. I take care of the staff that we have and all the accounts. Yeah. And I can go out and meet customers as well. And in fact, showing customers around our little showroom is one of my favourite things to do, and that's where the real passion comes out. And the pride in what we've managed to achieve in our wee showroom.
So you naturally organised then?
No, I'm not.
Have you learned to
organised? I've learned to be very organised. Yes.
Yeah. It can take a while.
Yes.
Certainly for me it did anyway.
Certainly throwing a couple of kids into the mix
absolutely
takes a bit of organisation.
Good for you. Yeah. What would you say your biggest challenges are?
The biggest challenge that we have at Birkwood is educating the public in the idea that they can have a kitchen made and not just a kitchen designed and installed. The majority of kitchens in the UK are made in really big factories with fantastic processes who churn out, to coin a phrase, some fantastic white and oak coloured carcasses. And they are shipped to the kitchen designers and they have their installers install them. Now that's great, and we've all lived, and most of us do live in kitchens that are made like that. But there are limitations with the design aspect of many of these kitchens because these kitchens come in standard sizes. You've got a 400mm box, a 500, a 600, a 700, and that tends to be the sort of range of sizes you can get, right down to 150mm and right up to 1 metre. But kitchens aren't all a universal size. And so our customers recognise that if you have a kitchen built from the floor up, exactly tailored around your needs, then you get a product that fits your room exactly and fits your lifestyle exactly. Convincing our public that it's worth spending possibly 2 to 3 times more than you would do on a high street kitchen is the biggest challenge that we have. To overcome these challenges, we love people to come and visit us, which is hard because we're not in the central belt. We are an hour and a half north of most of our customers coming from the central belt. But if you can tolerate a wee day trip to the Highland Perthshire area where we're situated, there's lots of other nice places to visit, then you do get a chance to come in and see what makes our cabinetry worth spending a little more money on. Meet our cabinet makers, who are the people that not only make your cabinet, but will then install it. Meeting Mark, my husband, who designs and also helps to manufacture, and understanding what he can achieve in your room. And seeing our little tiny wee showroom, which is small but very perfectly formed, to play with the kitchens and feel how smooth the drawer runners are. Look at all the little details that make our kitchens, we think, some of the nicest available, and with the little features and the exposed end grain ply. So the challenge for us is to get our public across the threshold and to actually come and lay their hands on what we make and experience a little bit of Birkwood love.
Which iconic interior product do you wish you designed?
That's an easy one.
Great.
A Charles Eames relaxed chair. built in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Totally iconic, copied by millions of people. And one of these chairs, a genuine, authentic Charles Eames relaxed chair with the ottoman that goes with it, will cost you upwards of £10,000. And we would dearly love to have one in our house. But we don't. We don't have one of the copies either, which they sell for around about £1,000, because we would only want an original Charles Eames chair. So they're made of plywood, bent plywood, with the leather upholstery, and it's just iconic, classic, and that is something we would love to have invented.
So is something in the future for your dream home? Tell us about your dream home.
Well, my dream home, I think when you're Scottish, you're not really too kind of modest, and I'm ashamed to tell you that we live in our dream home, which we're pretty lucky to be living in our dream home. There's not many people live in their dream home, and our home isn't many people's idea of a dream home, but it's ours. We live in Highland Perthshire, and we live in farmland at the top of a hill with an uninterrupted view of the Athol Glens. And it's a lovely setting. Our house, however, is a 1970s bungalow, which a neighbour who lives in a beautiful little cottage once described as an eyesore on the landscape, and she was right. However, when we went to view it 10 years ago, it was the view that drew us in, and it's kept us there. And it's a work in progress, trying to convert it into something that is more appealing. And we're getting there. We have lived in it for 8 years before doing anything more substantial than a lick of paint. But we have replaced the roof with a corrugated aluminium roof. We have put 100mm of insulation externally all around the outside and reclad it in zinc and in white render, and that has amazingly knocked 30% off our electricity bills. Wow. So anyone in a 70s bungalow, get the insulation going. So
and you've installed your dream kitchen as well.
We have installed our dream kitchen. It is still very much a work in progress, and there's a lot to do with the grounds and the landscaping. But we have amazingly managed to move into our dream home, and we hope to be there for a very long time.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about your kitchen, your own kitchen.
Our own kitchen, well, it's a Birkwood plywood kitchen. I'm pleased to report, after 9 years of not having one and watching many lovely kitchens leave our workshop, it's been lovely to actually have worked on our own kitchen. So it's we're lucky enough to have a dining room and a kitchen that we've knocked together, which is obviously something that's very current, to be able to do that and to have a social space that we can cook in and dine in. So we've got a large area. It's floor to ceiling with cabinets on one side.
Sounds very practical.
Very, very practical on one side, and then very clean work surfaces on the other side. And we have gone through the design process exactly the same way as we sit down with our clients. We ask them for a wish list as long as possible. And we ask them to break down their kitchen into all the little areas that you might not think about when you're designing a kitchen.
So when it came to designing yours, who asked you the questions?
My husband Mark asked me the questions. And I wrote down the longest list that you can ever see of all the areas that were within our existing kitchen. And it really took me by surprise. You've got the pens and the bits of paper and the drawer of bits.
Everyone's got the drawer.
Everyone's got the drawer, but it's largely forgotten about. We've got the cereals.
But we go into it a lot.
You go into it all the time.
The drawer daily.
Yes, you need the drawer. Everyone needs the drawer. We had the cereals that some of the cereals were just too big to fit where they were supposed to go.
So you take the inner out and recycle the outer.
That's right. We have got the dog's kibble. Anyone with a pet will know that their dog's food needs somewhere to go.
Right.
Some people keep it in the garage. Some people keep it in the utility room. I wanted it in the kitchen.
So where is it in your kitchen?
Well, it's in a drawer.
Great. And can the dogs use the pot?
The dogs cannot, because it's within a sealed box which we've made to fit in the drawer. And that's where the kibble's kept. I wanted a drawer just for the tea towels and one just for the cling film and the tin foil. I wanted drawers for my children's school bags to go into. Yes. Because that's just not handy at 4:00 in the afternoon when all of a sudden a couple of rucksacks come in and there's nowhere to put them. So I took a lot of time and wrote a very, very long list and handed it over to Mark. And that's where he gets handy with his drawing package and starts to explore all the different spaces that you may have available in your room. The end result is a lot of asymmetry and a lot of very small drawers and slightly bigger drawers and really deep drawers that house everything that I've written on the list.
Do you have any exposed content in there?
We have very little exposed content. Exposed content is a brave concept. I love a floating shelf. I like a little corner unit that's open, but they take a lot of dusting and a lot of cleaning. And for many busy households, it's wise to have a good think about whether you want to be doing a lot of dusting. So we have very little exposed content, and it's mostly recipe books, and the rest of it is all hidden away behind drawers and cupboards.
So do you like cooking?
I do like cooking. Being honest, in a busy household with children, I think you'll all know, anybody with children will know that it kind of revolves around the lowest common denominator of what food suits everybody. So cooking on a day-to-day basis is a pleasure to do, but it can be fairly humdrum. However, my particular talents probably lie in the tray bake and especially tablet, which is my favourite thing to cook. Now, the great thing about cooking tablet in a kitchen that you love is that it takes 2 hours from start to finish to make a bowl of tablet, and you can't leave it.
Have you got a drawer, especially for the tablet?
Well, I do. I've got a flip up overhead airline locker style cabinet, and that's where my tablet pan is kept. So that was specifically because you can't use an ordinary pan because it might pick up the flavours of the curry that you cooked in it the night before. Yes. So I have a tablet pan.
That's great.
Yes, and a drawer just for the...
You sound super organised.
Well, I'm super organised because I've got this kitchen that houses everything exactly the way I want it to be housed. So yeah, quite organised.
Tell me, do you love your home?
I love my home, and there's one aspect of my home that I love the most, and that is our wood-burning stove. And it's not fancy. It's 10 years old, and I'm not very good at keeping it awfully clean. And the hearth area has always got lots of bits of ash floating all over it. But it's no secret to my family that I need our lounge room to be warm. And even in the height of summer, you can find me lighting the wood-burning stove of an evening and opening the patio door.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
And the heart of my home is the fire. And that's also replicated if we go away to a holiday home or somebody else's house. The thing I'm looking for is the warmth of a fire.
You might remember that we're asking guests to prepare a quick how-to on any subject they like, and we're really eager to hear what they come up with. So tell me, what's your how-to?
Well, if I could just put on my domestic hat here. For anyone who makes tablet, back to the tablet. My how-to comes at the end of making tablet, where any good housewife will tell you that they need to get your wooden spoon and you need to beat it thoroughly for about 10 minutes to thicken the tablet up before it's ready to put in the pan to set. My how-to is simply to get your handheld electric mixer and use that, and it only takes 60 seconds.
Oh, good for you. A massive thank you, Alison, for taking part today. It was great. And to all our listeners out there, If you're enjoying our podcast, please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe. Featuring in the next episode, 2 Scottish artists with very different stylistic approaches. The September-October issue of the magazine is out now, available across Scotland in all good retailers. You can also read the issue online via the Homes and Interiors Scotland app or on Readly. Receive the November and December issue direct to your door by subscribing today from just £18. Find us online at homesandinteriorscotland.com or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest by searching for Homes and Interiors Scotland. This episode of the Homes and Interiors Scotland podcast was presented by myself, Jill Welsh, produced by Sarah Gillespie and edited by Alec Drew. And thanks again to Bow Concept Scotland. We're really looking forward to visiting the new Glasgow store when it opens. Keep up to date on Instagram or head to bowconcept.com.